Let me ask you a question. You're out in the middle of a deep basin, you're staring at a perfectly clean sonar screen, and you move on because it's a dead zone. What if I told you that you just drove away from the biggest crappie of your life? Today, we're talking about the phantom fish, the trophy crappies that hang suspended in open water and are completely missed by your expensive electronics. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why your sonar is lying to you and, more importantly, how to use that lie to your advantage and catch these invisible giants. This goes against what a lot of the pros and sonar companies preach, so let me know in the comments right now. Do you trust your sonar 100%? Or have you ever had that gut feeling that it's missing something big? For decades, we've been trained to fish a certain way. We fire up the sonar and we look for the classic signs of life. We search for those beautiful arches, big bait balls, or what guys call Christmas trees, stacks of fish that light up the screen. When we see an empty screen, our instinct, honed over years of fishing, tells us to move. Find the fish. Don't waste time in dead water. This method works great if you're targeting schools of active average size crappie. But for the true giants, the solitary 16-inch slabs, this exact habit is why you go home empty-handed. You're looking for a party when the biggest fish in the lake prefers to be alone. Picture the scene. It's mid-morning. You're idling over a 25-foot basin that you know holds big fish. But your screen is blank. Not a single arch, not a blip. It feels like a waste of time. This exact moment is where 99% of fishermen make a critical mistake. They trust the screen more than they trust the spot. They hit the throttle and go on a search, burning gas and time, looking for fish that are willing to show themselves. The trophy hunter, however, sees this blank screen as a potential clue, not a dead end. Our entire fishing education is built around the school mentality. We are programmed to look for groups of fish. We think that where there is one, there must be more. And for smaller cookie-cutter crappie, that's absolutely true. They bunch up for safety and for feeding efficiency. It makes them easy to spot on sonar. This is the low-hanging fruit. It's fun to catch a bunch of them, but it's not how you find the true monsters of the species. Now let's talk about how a true trophy crappie behaves. We're not talking about a 12-incher. We're talking about a fish that's old, wise, and fat. These fish often break away from the school. They become solitary hunters. They don't need the safety of the pack. Their metabolism is slower, and they often spend long periods of time just suspending in the water column, barely moving, simply waiting for the perfect easy meal to drift by. They are masters of conserving energy. This brings us to their invisibility cloak, part 1, their mood. A fish that is in a neutral or negative state is barely moving. It might adjust a fin every few minutes, but otherwise it's virtually stationary. It's not chasing, it's not fleeing, it's just there. This lack of movement is the first reason your sonar starts to fail. Electronics are incredibly good at picking up targets that are moving, even slightly, relative to the boat. A stationary object is much harder to define as a fish. So, let's quickly break down how your sonar actually works. In the simplest terms, your transducer sends out a sound wave, a ping. This ping travels down, hits an object, and bounces back. The unit measures how long that took and draws a picture. The best object for that ping to hit inside a fish is its swim bladder. It's a sac of air that acts like a perfect echo chamber, sending back a strong, clear signal. This is what creates those nice bright arches on your screen. Here is the swim bladder problem. On a big, lethargic crappie that is suspended perfectly horizontally and not moving, that swim bladder presents the smallest possible target to the sonar ping from above. The return signal is incredibly weak. It's a tiny little peep instead of a loud bang. Modern sonar units have powerful filtering software or algorithms designed to clear up the screen. Often this weak, tiny signal is interpreted by the unit as noise or clutter, and it's simply erased before it ever shows up on your screen. Now for the real culprit, the thing that makes these fish completely vanish. Let's talk about the blob. I'm talking about zooplankton, microscopic creatures that form massive, dense clouds in the water column. To the naked eye, the water looks clear, but to your sonar, These clouds can look like a faint haze, a bit of static, or just nothing at all if your settings are wrong, and this is exactly where those big crappies live. So why would a giant crappie hang out in a cloud of microscopic bugs? Well, they aren't necessarily eating the plankton themselves, but tiny minnows and shad larvae absolutely are. The plankton cloud is a massive all-you-can-eat buffet for the smallest baitfish in the lake. The trophy crappie is not there for the plankton, it's there for the things eating the plankton. It's an ambush predator, waiting for a tiny minnow to get distracted by its meal. This plankton cloud provides the ultimate camouflage. The density of these millions of tiny bodies can do one of two things to your sonar signal. It can absorb it, like a soundproof wall, so the ping never even reaches the fish. Or it can scatter it in 1,000 different directions, creating such a messy, weak return signal that your sonar unit has no idea what to make of it. The fish is literally hiding in plain sight, inside a cloud that your sonar is designed to ignore. Think about your sonar's autofilter settings. Straight out of the box, most units are set to auto sensitivity. The goal of this setting is to give you the cleanest, prettiest picture possible. It's designed to filter out interference, suspended sediment, and yes, weak signals from things like plankton clouds. In its attempt to help you, the sonar is actively hiding the single most important clue to finding trophy crappie. It's wiping the dinner table clean from your screen. Here's a way to visualize the problem. Imagine you are trying to find a single white golf ball in the middle of a heavy snow blizzard. Your eyes can't pick it out. All you see is the snow. Your sonar is in the same position. It sees the massive blizzard of plankton and can't distinguish the single golf ball of a trophy crappie suspended inside it. It just shows you a fuzzy screen, or if the filter is high, nothing at all. This bait-fish connection is critical. Even if there are no visible bait balls on your screen, that doesn't mean there's no food. The prey is often just as small and invisible as the plankton they are eating. That big crappie doesn't need to chase a school of 3-inch shad. It can hover effortlessly and sip on dozens of tiny protein-rich morsels all day long. The entire ecosystem is happening in what your screen is telling you is empty, open water. So, this all sounds bad, but how do you actually find them? This is where you have to make a mental shift. You must stop looking for fish arches. Let me repeat that. You need to completely ignore your instinct to look for a fish. Your new target is the environment the fish lives in. You are now hunting for the invisible. You are hunting for the fuzz. Look for the fuzz on your screen. This is what you need to train your eyes to see, especially on traditional 2D sonar. You are looking for very subtle changes. Faint, hazy patches that seem to hang at a certain depth. It might look like a light grey cloud or a band of static across the screen. That is your target. That is the zooplankton. That is the dinner table. When you find that, you have found the zone. Now for the practical step. Go into your sonar settings. Turn auto sensitivity completely off. Now manually crank up the sensitivity. Keep going until your screen is filled with clutter and noise. It should look messy. Now, dial it back just a tiny bit until you can just start to make out the bottom again. This dirty screen is now telling you the truth about what's in the water column. This is where newer leaf scanning sonars have a slight advantage, but they are not magic. Even with live sonar, a stationary crappie can be hard to spot. It might just look like a single unmoving speck, but these technologies do give you a horizontal view, allowing you to scan these fuzzy zones more effectively. For those of us with traditional sonar, we have to use different techniques to confirm what our newly tuned screen is telling us. One of the best methods is the trolling test. Once you've identified a fuzzy zone at say 20 feet down over 30 feet of water, set up a long line troll. Run a small crankbait or a 2-inch jig and plastic combination right through the middle of that hazy area. Don't troll around it, troll through it. You will be absolutely shocked at the violent strike that comes out of what looks like nowhere. The most important tool in your boat is not your sonar, it's your patience. This requires a huge mental shift. You have to learn to fish a spot, not a screen. You have to trust your knowledge that big fish suspend in these plankton clouds. You have to be willing to drop a jig down into that fuzz and just hold it there, dead sticking it, for minutes at a time. Trust that the fish are there, even when your electronics are silent. I will never forget one day on a notoriously tough lake. The screen was absolutely spotless for hours. My buddy was ready to pack it in, but I saw this incredibly faint, hazy layer at 18 feet. It was barely visible. I told him to just drop a slip bobber and a minnow right to that depth. He thought I was crazy. Not 10 seconds later, that bobber was gone, and a 16.5-inch black crappie was thrashing on the surface. We caught 5 more giants from that one empty spot. So the final takeaway is a complete retraining of your brain. Your primary mission is no longer to find fish on the sonar. Your mission is to find the right-looking nothing. You are looking for the environment that holds invisible fish. The faint clouds, the subtle haze, the dirty water on your screen. That is the new treasure map. The blank screen isn't a sign to leave. It's an invitation to start hunting for real. So, there you have it. The reason your sonar shows nothing is painfully simple. Those solitary trophy crappies are suspended, inactive, and hiding inside clouds of zooplankton. And your sonar, especially on its default settings, is specifically designed to filter out that entire scenario as clutter. The big twist, the real aha moment, is that you've been searching for the fish, when you should have been searching for the nothing. That faint fuzzy cloud on your screen is not empty water. It's the dinner table, and it's where the giants live. This single shift in perspective will change everything. You'll spend less time burning fuel running around the lake and more time fishing in highly productive overlooked zones. You will start catching fish that other anglers drive right over. Thank you so much for watching. If this video blew your mind a little bit, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Now, I have to ask you, have you ever caught a truly big fish in an area your sonar said was completely empty? I want to hear the story in the comments below.